Aries, this is your January 2022 soul story. This month you're going to be open to doing things very differently. This is Romy. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. We're going to break down some of the key messages and astrological dates so that you understand the energy conversation that's going on and how you can best navigate your way through the next few weeks. So we're opening up your reading with the energy of the Ace of Air, which equates to the Ace of Swords. So beautiful breakthrough energy. And what I want to say is that there is a real readiness from Aries this month, I feel, to say no. No to the things that you don't have time for. No to things that are not okay with you anymore. No to things because you've simply had enough. And it's that truth because you've really been able to get down to the bones of something. You know, we have this beautiful harp energy here and you're just ready to hear a different song. It's almost like there's a tiredness and a weariness of having the same thing projected at you, the same messages. And, you know, this is a month where not only do we have Venus retrograde, we're also going to be welcoming Mercury retrograde in an air sign of Aquarius initially on the 14th. And then it will shift into Capricorn on the 25th of the month through to the 3rd of February. So we are revisiting, you know, there is that introspective time and an opportunity to go back over things, and perhaps for you to get the opportunity now to say what you really feel, what's really going on for you. And yes, there can sometimes be some confusion or some aspect of things being misunderstood, but honestly, with the clarification of this ace coming in right off of you know, the opening to your reading, I have this sense that you're quite defiant and determined. And really, I think there's an expectation that, you know, no one's going to do for you what they haven't been able to do for themselves. Yeah. If they haven't been able to do it or they're not willing to do it for themselves, then why would they do it for you? And I think sometimes these hard truths, these difficult acknowledgements surface, not to kind of keep us locked in, but ultimately to help set us free. Now we have the new moon in Capricorn coming in on the 2nd of the month. This is a beautiful cosmic boost that helps you to kind of really drill down and figure out some of the things that you want to prioritize, that you want to manifest and bring in from a real tangible earth energy. You know, really seeing something that you know is going to support you moving through the next 12 months. Now, I never really, you know, sort of align with this idea of January being like the new year. It's far more for me like an equinox, you know, the beginning of astrological year is when I really feel that reset for many of us. But regardless, this is still a really beautiful time of the new moon to come in and feel like you have a bit of a fresh start and a bit of a fresh beginning with things. Life isn't meant to be endured, Aries. It's meant to be created. And if you can get on board with that, especially as Jupiter is now shifted into Pisces, beautiful artistry energy coming in, awakening your spiritual journey to beautiful new levels, bringing in a sense of creative inspiration for some of the ideas, the dreams, the gifts that you have, and really kind of helping to like mellow things out that have felt a little bit more disconnected and disjointed. Now, if life is meant to be created, there's an awareness that sometimes we do have to work hard. Sometimes it's not about working hard, it's about having better energetic alignment with what we want. Sometimes it means that we have to strip things back, and sometimes it means that we have to add more things in. And so you yourself are going to know what the right approach and the way forward is. And you know, hear me when I say you yourself, because this is definitely a month we've been building all the way through 21 and really teaching you and talking to you about this need to trust more clearly within the self than you ever have before. And January as a month is about breaking cycles. It's about seeing things you've never seen before because you're now tuned in and tapped into a new energy frequency, and you've learned from the mistakes. Now your 7 of Earth, 7 of Pentacles coming in here suggests that it is about previous investment that is now starting to come about, and you're going to reap the rewards from that. So you're going to start to see things showing up in the month of January that are in direct correlation to where you have chosen to direct yourself. Your future, however, is truly the outcome of what you're doing in the absolute present moment. So you've got to be so mindful in January at what your energy is saying and where you're directing it. Okay, because the fast manifestation, the quick turn of events that's going to carry all the way through the year of 2022 is something to really be aware of. Now, this is also a month when I want you to be doing your research. I want you to look at all of the options. I want you to weigh things up. Seven of Earth suggests to me that there's something you're still not quite happy with. There's something that's not fallen into place, or as you look or observe it, you're thinking, this doesn't feel right. Trust in that. But at the same time, we don't want to make any wild, impulsive moves right now, because all this retrograde energy, this introspection time, is a beautiful opportunity to just look at all of the different possibilities. Let's get everything on the table and let's discuss it all. Coming at it from that perspective is really going to help you to be much more discerning, and that discernment is everything this month, because you really have to question the things from a place of your personal experience. Question the validity of what you're being shown, what's being discussed, what's being presented, what's being projected or forced, in your direction. And the more that you can do this, the more experimental you can feel with the energy. And that's really important, because that means you're going to have choices. And this is a month where you need to feel that you have choices, okay? So we have Ceres, the goddess energy of home and hearth, turning direct in Taurus. We also have Uranus stationing direct in Taurus after its retrograde period. Now, what this means is, again, this earth energy coming through to kind of really help you to make sense of a lot of the internal journeying that you've been doing in that second house, your value consciousness. Of course, Venus retrograde is still putting that firm focus as well. And here you have the energy of the star. Now, this particular deck, okay, that I chose for January, the Witch's Wisdom, she actually flips some of the major arcana placements. And whilst I don't want to use that all the time, I think for January it's really interesting, because it kind of forces us to look at things differently. And as we said to the open of your reading, you're going to be open to that, because you're seeking, you're striving to find a better way, not just for yourself, for the people that you're in connection and relationships with, and for the good of the collective energy as well. So we have the star coming in. Typically this would be the energy of the Hierophant, but here we have the star, so this beautiful healing that wants to emerge. And she's submerged in the water here, looking quite pensive, looking quite thoughtful. Again, the Seven of Earth has got this pensive, thoughtful energy to it as well. And it's most likely because that Ace of Air, that kind of cutting through with that sword of truth has really left you in absolutely no uncertainty about the truth of certain things. And it's so, what do I need to take from that? How can I move past this? How do I allow the healing to kind of fall into line to sort of help support me in what comes next for me? It's a month where we may be looking at the pathways and saying, we don't always get everything that we want, but we definitely get everything that we need. Now, that's not to say that the things that you do want are not coming, because especially as we come into Aquarius energy, which is that 11th house for you, Aries, it does reignite your hopes, your dreams. But I feel like there's a little bit of a journey for us to get to the point where we get to almost like reimagine actually the things that we do want, and that sort of what if is really important. I guess I want to say to you, like, if you could sort of take this month and really keep remembering what your why is, that's going to help you in so many immeasurable ways, okay? Because what it's going to do is it's going to mean that you don't shrink, you don't allow yourself to be depleted energetically, you don't accept things that you're no longer resonant with, that you don't second guess yourself or allow yourself to put up with things that make you feel less than. This is why this readiness to say no is going to be so important. Now, your Ace of Cups, Ace of Water, is saying that this is time for self-nourishment. There's a beautiful renewal energy available to you to tap into in January. And this can come into relationships and connections as well. You know, there's an awful lot of healing energy showing up for you in that way. But you have to address the things that are not working or haven't been working. And sometimes when we're going back over things, there's a tendency for one or the other party to kind of cast things up. That's not particularly conducive to finding that way forward for you. Everything is connected. What do I mean by that? Well, you know, how you feel about yourself is going to impact your money story. It's going to impact your emotional stability. It's going to impact your readiness to receive more love, your readiness to be more respected, you know, to feel more inspired. And so when you come at it from a place of constantly making sure that you prioritize and take care of yourself, that you don't avoid things that feel complex or difficult. The reason I say that is not only can that be a distraction in some ways, but it can also help you to kind of cut your cloth and almost set you up really beautifully for something that's coming, so that you don't shy away from it or feel like, no, that's not for me. You know, there's nothing about this time and space that we're living in right now that isn't difficult and complex and, you know, full of challenge to help us to learn, to develop and to grow. But we still get to move forward with an energy of compassion, deep sense of love and tolerance, self-forgiveness, and ensuring that we're still bringing things into our life that make us feel good, that remind us of the best of ourselves. I really want you to take this month when you're remembering your why, because that's going to keep you on the right side of the track, you know? Okay, so you have the energy of number 1, which of course would typically be the Magician, and here we have the World. So there's something about this beautiful sense of completion, this journey that you're embarking on. And, you know, you look like you're prepared for a little bit of an endurance trek here, okay? Which again doesn't need to be negative, because you've filled yourself up. You've been able to find out what it is that's going to keep you going. I think this is why the why is important, you know? The Ace of Cups, though, remember, is the activation of an energy that is unconditional and constantly flowing. So there's no real sense of energy depletion here. There's just a constant reminder of knowing where I can access that energy. Now we've got a full moon coming in Cancer on the 17th of the month. It almost looks like this city is burning in the background. So I also feel like you're setting alight something that is no longer working, or you're certainly moving away from something that feels in a state of conflict or chaos, or you've already intuitively felt is not going to withstand or go the distance or has any sense of permanence around it. Now there may be a little bit of sadness or a heavy heart in the realization or recognition of that, but at the same time this healing energy of the Star comes in and reminds us that, you know, we're constantly shaping our hopes and dreams and constantly being guided. Our energy is constantly in a state of renewal and restoration. And if we can kind of get on board with that cycle, it means that we can keep choosing ourselves over and over again. Like I said, life is here to be created, not endured. And if there are things going on in your life that feels like I'm having to endure this, I'm having to put up with this, you know, first of all, it's one thing to recognize it's a very temporary situation for you. Sometimes we have to, you know, work hard to achieve something, or we have to go through a specific challenge. But if it's like a perpetual state of existence for you, then this is the time, this is the month where I really see you addressing something within the self that says, okay, I need to do things from a different place at this moment in time. So here, this is the energy of the Empress, the Great Mother, which would typically be the Sun. You're very protected here. This big beautiful bear comes in for me and just says, like, you know, you're just being taken care of as you deal with things that feel more vulnerable and more fragile, whether it's things that you have to do within the self, or if it's that you're taking care of things in your life that require your full focus, energy and attention. There's a beautiful level of abundance and fertility that continues around you. So that isn't being taken away. And I want to say that there's nothing about this month of January that is about wanting to make you feel that things are constantly being taken and removed from your life as a punishment. You know, this is an opportunity where everything is kind of, I suppose, in some aspects being thrown up in the air so that when it lands, you can see it differently. You can look at things and question things in a way that you've never been able to before. And that, you know, you recognize you're the light. You recognize that you're the light and that you're here to make things whole. So we don't want you focused so strongly in the darkness. And that Cancer full moon energy that comes in, that connects into the mother archetype, to home, and that Empress energy says that there's something here that wants to be birthed, that wants to be generated. And the reveal that comes in around that time, I think, is going to be powerful. It almost feels like it could take your breath away a little bit, and that might come directly from spirit. There's such a beautiful spiritual wave of energy coming through January, you know, as you really attune to the frequency in a much more open way. But also this Jupiter and Pisces transit, it's so beautiful for all of us to kind of get on board with. Now you have the Witch of Fire here. This connects into the Knight of Wands. Okay, so she's wrapped around by this snake energy. So there's something really beautiful about the shedding of a skin and the release and the kind of the transmutation energy that's happening. I love that the smoke that's coming out here is pure white. So there's the purification, if you like, of this is really, really powerful. Now she's holding a crystal ball here as well. So there's also something innately understood by you, intuitively given to you by your guides, by source, by spirit, to help you to do the right thing at the right time. And for me, this is about the action that you take, whether it be to launch something, to move somewhere, to relocate, to make the trip, to have the conversation. There's just something very significant about the timing of it and the purity of your intention that goes behind it. Okay, now it may also be another fire energy, a Leo, Sagittarius, or another Aries that's also going to be relevant. But with that Ace of Cups, and look, the water's literally pouring down into the energy of the Knight of Wands as well. So drenched in love is actually the phrase that comes through, which is really beautiful. So you've got these two aces, you know, the spark, the potential, the beginning of something new, feeling drenched in love as you come at this from a really pure place. And that's in a readiness and a willingness to say no, but also to open up to be doing things differently. And this is beautiful. And I really feel that whether this is coming up personally or professionally, it really heralds like a powerful step change for you, like just looking and addressing something in a very, very different way. You're so much more ready than you think you are, Aries. I don't know, I have a sense like some of you feel like, okay, there's still going to be, you know, so much more that I need to do, or I need to learn, or needs to fall into place before this can happen. Well, you know, we all know that life just isn't like that. Life happens when we're busy trying to prepare for it. Now your Nine of Swords here, you've got the bee's nest. Actually, it's kind of probably more like the wasp's nest, isn't it? Because that's like the Nine of Swords. So yes, there's a little bit of fear and anxiety. And I think that's honestly, like I said, coming from this place that this month has this real restlessness to it. And when it's unmanaged and we're not being mindful of it, we can really kind of allow it to sort of take hold, and it can end up bringing up all sorts of fears and anxieties. That in and of itself is not necessarily a bad thing, because honestly, for you this month, Aries, I'd rather it was out in the open. I'd rather that you kind of confronted it. Like I said, don't avoid the complex, difficult conversation situations, okay? The reason being is that you want to kind of address this once and for all so you can clear and move on. And in all honesty, like so much I think of what you've sort of almost anticipated is going to be the outcome of a situation. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised in terms of the actual true kind of unfolding. It's far more healing than I think you're aware of at this moment in time, or certainly when that energy may hit. Now look behind us, we've got all this beautiful blue sky. Now this may be cactus energy, which to all intents and purposes initially can feel quite dangerous or quite prickly, but actually if we think about the cactus, it's an amazing plant for eliminating negativity, a wonderful plant to have in your house to just clear toxic energy and negativity. And so again, there's something really beneficial about what's showing up here. We want to see where this nest is. We want to understand what's the root of it. Where is it coming from? Because it's perhaps one of the things that's held you back or gotten in the way of you actually being able to keep the promises to yourself, or to be able to, you know, stop stop kind of taking yourself as seriously as you should be right now in terms of the things that you want. So in many ways, it's an indication really of how much you're on the right track, is what I want to say. So we have Mars shifting into Capricorn on the 24th of the month. And again, this is going to give you not only the drive, but that grounded, earthy energy to be able to make things happen. And, you know, as you're working with 10th and 11th house through January, you know, it's very much about what's happening, what's going on within your career, who you're connecting to, how you can make things happen. Now you have the 2 of Earth here, and you've got this sort of almost like hibernation type scene going on here. And I feel this is a reminder to conserve energy. Yeah, it's about conserving energy when you need to. You may have to be very resourceful and very adaptable at certain times through the month of January as you open up to doing things very differently or hearing things in a new way. And that can feel a little bit disorientating at times. And, you know, you may have to sort of go through that slightly juggling energy. And yet here, there's such a sense of peacefulness with the Star and the Empress and the 2 of Earth here that I want to say just counteracts anything that might fall out from that sort of feeling a little bit more anxious or disconnected or not being able to kind of rest properly. You're going to get to grips with it, and then you're going to put something in place that's really going to be able to support you. Now Venus is going to shift direct in Capricorn on the 29th of the month, okay? So even by the end of January, although we'll still have some shadow to work through in February, you're already seeing the light. You're already coming to terms with so much of what has been directed towards you to learn about your own relationships, to love, to money, to your sense of self, your self-worth, your self-respect. And out of that, there's some really powerful things that I feel you are affirming for yourself. I think you'll be surprising a few people, and in choosing what matters most, I want you to get really clear and get very personal about what you are proud of. This is a month it's really important that you take time to do that. What you're proud of, what your principles are and how they've changed, how your perceptions are changing. This is everything. Why is it everything? Because the new energy that's coming in, the people that are showing up, the doors that are going to be opening for you demand that you have a voice, that you have an opinion, that you stay true, that you know your why. Because then when you are receiving the abundance of whatever it is you're seeking, the love, the security, the health, the financial stability, then you're in a place where you're really clear about what you want, why you want it, and therefore you're completely in energetic alignment with it. Okay, so let's take a look and see how these oracle cards want to just reflect this conversation for you. So Sun will shift into Aquarius on the 19th of the month, just after Uranus stations direct. Now remember, when these planets move retrograde or direct, they can be a bit disruptive to our energy, and so you might feel a little bit out of sorts when that happens. Your beautiful oracle card is angelic assistance, divine guidance and loving support. This is really beautiful. And again, you know, with this energy of 6, we're coming into a 6th year now in 2022, which is all about how we find a deeper sense of harmony and equilibrium within the self. But you are being so celestially guided with that star energy coming through as well. So even if you are about to take those steps or about to make choices that are not serving you or would send you backwards, which can be very tempting in retrograde energy, because we just want to find the comfort zone again, don't we, when we feel like everything is kind of getting uprooted around us. But here you're lovingly being redirected. And I feel you will be open to that, because again, this energy of the world, like you're on the move and you're just being accepting that you have to do things differently this time around, you know, and you're already in recognition with that 7 of Earth that there's something that you are dissatisfied or, you know, you're still in deep assessment over, okay? So that angelic assistance is going to come in at absolutely the right time to make you feel like you're not going backwards, because you really aren't. You really aren't. Okay, let's have a look at these astral cards for you. Okay, so you have the energy of the moon, perception. Well, we talked about the fact that your perceptions are changing, your principles are changing, you know, what you're proud of, what matters to you. The revelations will be coming thick and fast in January for you. That Cancer full moon, a water moon, very emotive, inviting you to more than any other moon really feel your way. It's quite a protective one as well, you know, and again, those bears looking very protective. So I think there's something you are protective of, whether it be yourself, your loved one, something in your life that you feel you just want to kind of really keep a close eye on. But there's also beautiful wisdom that's emerging here. And any deception, any lies, anyone that has tried to act disingenuously towards you, there is a reveal that comes, and there's an ability for you to kind of, I suppose, have that opportunity to air something, to address something, and I guess to be prepared to say, no, this is no longer acceptable for me. And as we said, you know, we can't really expect people to do for us what they haven't been able to or willing to do for themselves. And I think that's one of the kind of truths that's going to come up through that Ace of Swords and the reveal with that moon energy. And, you know, it doesn't even necessarily, you know, have to come in on a real negative energy. It is what it is. You know, you have to kind of sort of meet people where they are. But if that is holding you back, this is also a month when I see you kind of taking things back into a sense of feeling you're in control of that. Now, this particular deck is called the Blindspot, okay? And there's a series of sigils. What I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one, but I'm actually going to deliver the message for you in the extended reading, okay? But it's such a beautiful deck to work with. It's very shadow orientated. It really calls us out. It doesn't mince its words. It packs a punch, but it's a fantastic deck to have in your collection if you do like to invest. Okay, so you have number 65, Aries, so we will go into that in more detail in the extended. If you're new to the channel, the extended reading, we talk for another 20 minutes or so. We're also going to answer a personal question for you that might not have come up in the main spread, so I'm just going to invite you to think about that just now, because this is just a general reading for January. You can find the link in the description in the comment section underneath, Aries, if you would like to join. And I'm just going to go ahead and clarify this main reading now. So just beginning with the Ace of Air. Okay, you have the Wounded Warrior, the Nine of Wands coming in here. Queen of Pentacles. Is there earth energy? Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. More of this revelation and truth energies coming through. You also have the Knight of Pentacles. I really like that, especially with the Tower energy coming in, because it shows me you're not being derailed regardless of what's happening around you. Seven of Swords. Okay, you have another Knight of Wands coming through here. Very symbolic in your reading for January. May well be relocation for some of you, or really important launches. Remember, retrograde, not always an amazing time for new things. However, if you're returning to something, adding to it, it can be a beautiful bridge to something more, to something new. Ten of Pentacles with that Ace of Cups. Beautiful. And another World coming in. Lovely. Such a sense of mastery coming in, emotional mastery, creative mastery. A lot of movement in your reading with Chariot now as well. Also that links into Cancer. Again, this Cancer full moon I feel very symbolic for you. Devil and the Three of Cups. What about this Nine of Swords? What do we need to know? Five of Wands. Six of Swords. Even if there is conflict, you're also releasing yourself from it. Oh, beautiful. Another star. Queen of Cups. Okay, Aries, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're joining me for the extended, thank you. It's a wonderful way to support my work and receive some deeper insights for the month ahead. And I will see you there. Otherwise, I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for this first month of 2022. You take good care of yourselves. Bye.